Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Caleb from Caleb the Video Maker 2. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe. In this video, I'm going to be talking about control structures. So basically loops and ifs and all that stuff. So first one we learned about was the if, and the way this works is it will test a condition. If it's true, it will do something for us, such as echo true. Okay, obviously I need to enclose this within PHP tags. So to do that, we do PHP, and then we close it like that. Alright, and we name this index.php, so we're still on the same page. Alright, so this runs a test, so if 5 is greater than 6, echo true. It's not, so nothing happens. Or it can be if 6 is greater than 5, that's going to be true, so it runs true. We could also add an else to this. So this works basically if it's false, it's going to do something else. And we don't have to just echo out true or false. We can pretty much do whatever you want there. So let's try flipping these again. If 2 is greater than 5, it's false, so it's going to go to the false. You can also, on top of that, add an else if. So the way that works is it's going to do a third test. So you're going to have to it's going to do a second test. So you're going to need parentheses. If 5 is greater than 2, do whatever is within the bar of code. 5 is greater than 2. So obviously the second one is going to run. That's because the first one, it tested if 2 is greater than 5, it's not. So this does not get ran, it goes to the else if. And that is true, so it gets ran. But if this was a 1, it's going to go to the else, false. Alright, cool. So those are the 3 basic if statements. We also learned about the switch. So the switch looks like this. It's a little more complex. So here's the basics. It's going to test something within here. So basically you're not going to actually make an expression. You're just going to put something such as a variable. And then if it's 0, so let's define it. So I equals 0. If it's 0, it's going to echo equals 0. And it does equal 0, so that is run as true. We can also have other cases within this. So if it's a 1, what it's going to do is echo equals 1. And then it's going to break. And I'll explain that in a second. So now it's still 0, but if we change the value of 1, alright, well now it's 1. So let's add 2 more. So case number 2 equals 2. Case number 3 equals 3. Alright, so obviously it's still going to equal 1 because we never changed it. But let's try changing it to 3, and it's going to go for the case 3. We can also have a default Alright, so now let's try making this 100, and it's going to go for the default. Alright, so what does the break do? Well, the break just stops the bar of code from continuing. So if we never had any breaks, it's going to cause some problems because every single line of code after the break is still going to be ran. So let's see what happens now. Let's set this equal to 0. And we get equal 0, equal 1, equal 2, equal 3, and none of the above. So it's important that we have the breaks within the switch statement. We put one on the default in case the default does not go at the bottom in some cases. So as you can see, if we did not have the break on the default, this is what we would get. It equals 0, and then it breaks. So I'm not going to delete all the breaks just to show you that again. But that is important to have the break. And I also like to have the default at the bottom. So let's move that down to the bottom. Alright, so that is the switch statement. Next we learned about the while loop. That's pretty simple. I really need to pick either single or double quotes because I'm using whatever I feel like at the time. While loop is going to execute while a condition stays true. So it's going to continue to test something. Okay, like, is the user signed on? If so, grant access. I mean, that's just a stupid example, probably not very practical. But that is how the while loop works. We also have the do while loop, which looks like this. And then within these, you are going to do something, such as echo while, and then we test something. So let's create a variable outside of here. X equals 5, and that can change. It's just temporary. So while, actually let's say x equals true. So while the variable x is equal to true, it's going to, okay, we'll see, it's always true, so it's going to print like unlimited of them. And it's probably going to cause my computer to like explode. So if it's false, well then, alright, let me show you. Alright, first or true. The reason I put first or true, because even though it's false, this is still going to be ran at least once. So this is the first time running it, which is why it's echoed. If it was the second time running, it's not going to run. So the final one we learned about was the for each, which we just talked about. So let's quickly make an array. I'll just use the same one I used last time, just to keep that within the list so it's not all by itself in another video. And then within these parentheses, we are going to put the array name. Oh, sorry, not equals as. And then we can just put the variable that we want, and then we could echo that variable. Let's try that. Alright, so now it printed 1, 2, and then 9001. We could also echo a line break. Boom. So those were all the control structures that we talked about. We also talked about the ternary operator, which I'm not going to get into in this video, but you can learn about that in my previous video or whatever. So thank you for watching all of those. Hopefully that was helpful, comprehensive review. So if not, I'm sorry for wasting your time, but I just wanted to make sure you had them all figured out and easily seen on the computer. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Please be sure to subscribe, because it really means a lot.